Hello dear friends and welcome back to our channel. It's wonderful to have you here with us today. Picture this, a quiet evening. You're settled comfortably, perhaps reading a book or watching a favorite show, and right there beside you, curled up contentedly, is your beloved furry companion. Maybe it's a cat purring softly on your lap, or a loyal dog resting its head on your knee. For so many of us, especially as we navigate our later years, the companionship of a pet is one of life's greatest joys. They offer unconditional love, a reason to get up in the morning, and a warm presence that can ease loneliness. Many of us take this comfort a step further, sharing our beds with our pets at night. It feels natural, doesn't it? That comforting weight, the soft breathing beside you, it can feel incredibly reassuring. It's a common scene, a picture of warmth and connection that plays out in countless homes every single night. But have you ever stopped to think if this cozy arrangement might carry some hidden risks, particularly as we get older? Recently, veterinarians have released some urgent guidelines, drawing attention to potential health concerns for seniors, specifically those over 70, who share their beds with pets. Now, please don't misunderstand. The intention here isn't to scare you or to suggest you should distance yourself from your cherished companions. Absolutely not. Our pets are family. The goal today is to have an open, honest and gentle conversation based on professional advice. It's about understanding potential risks so we can make informed choices that allow us to continue enjoying that precious bond while prioritizing our own health and well-being in our golden years. Think of it as knowledge that empowers us rather than alarms us. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's explore this topic together. We'll delve into what these veterinary guidelines suggest, look at the specific concerns they raise, and most importantly, discuss practical ways to navigate this, ensuring both you and your pet stay healthy and happy. Stick around because understanding this could be really important for your long-term health. Let's start by looking at why this conversation is particularly relevant after 70. As we age, our bodies naturally undergo changes. Our immune systems might not be quite as robust as they once were. We might be managing one or more chronic health conditions, and our sleep patterns can become more fragile. These factors can make us potentially more vulnerable to certain issues that might not have been a concern in our younger years. So, what are these risks the vets are highlighting? The first major area concerns the potential transmission of diseases, specifically bacteria and parasites. Our pets, as much as we adore them and keep them clean, can naturally carry certain microorganisms. Think about it. They walk outdoors, they sniff everything, they groom themselves with their tongues. It's just part of being an animal. Some common examples vets worry about include bacteria like Staphylococcus, which can cause skin infections, or even things like Salmonella or Campylobacter, which can lead to gastrointestinal upset. Then there are parasites. You might have heard of Toxoplasma gondii, often associated with cats, which can cause toxoplasmosis. While often mild in healthy individuals, it can be more serious for those with weakened immune systems. Fleas and ticks, even if treated, can occasionally find their way indoors and potentially transmit diseases. Now you might be thinking, but my pet is perfectly healthy and I keep my home clean, and that's wonderful. Responsible pet ownership involves regular vet checkups, vaccinations and parasite prevention, and these absolutely reduce the risk. However, even healthy-seeming pets can sometimes carry things asymptomatically, meaning they don't show signs of illness themselves. The concern with co-sleeping is the prolonged close contact. When your pet sleeps right next to you, perhaps under the covers, licking your face or snuggling close, the opportunity for transmission increases. Think about tiny scratches you might not even notice, or just the simple proximity allowing bacteria or parasite eggs, microscopic of course, to transfer onto your skin or bedding and potentially be ingested or enter your system. Let me share a little story, anonymized of course, that a vet shared with me. There was a gentleman in his late 70s, let's call him George. George adored his little terrier mix, Daisy. Daisy slept right beside him on his pillow every night. George started experiencing some recurrent skin issues, itchy rashes that just wouldn't clear up completely. After several visits to the doctor and dermatologist, they eventually connected it to a mild, persistent bacterial infection. His vet suggested that while Daisy was generally healthy, The constant close contact at night, with Daisy occasionally licking his face or hands while he slept, was likely the source of the recurring problem. It wasn't a life-threatening issue in George's case, but it was certainly uncomfortable and affected his quality of life. Once George lovingly transitioned Daisy to her own comfy bed right next to his, the skin issues finally resolved. This story highlights how even seemingly minor things can become problematic due to the sheer duration and closeness of contact during sleep. It's not about blaming our pets. It's about understanding the biological reality of sharing our immediate sleeping environment so intimately. Does this resonate with anyone? Have you ever experienced something similar, perhaps a lingering sniffle or a skin irritation you couldn't quite trace? It's worth considering all possibilities. Beyond bacteria and parasites, there's another significant health consideration: allergies. Many people develop allergies later in life, or existing allergies can worsen. Even if you've lived with pets your whole life without issue, changes in your immune system as you age can sometimes trigger new sensitivities. What are we allergic to when it comes to pets? It's often not the fur itself, but proteins found in their dander, dead skin flakes, saliva, and urine. These allergens are tiny, lightweight particles that easily become airborne and settle on surfaces, including your bedding, pillows, and pajamas. When you sleep with your pet, you are essentially immersing yourself in these allergens for 7, 8, maybe even 9 hours straight. This concentrated, prolonged exposure can trigger or exacerbate allergic reactions. Symptoms can range from mild, like sneezing, a runny nose, itchy eyes, or skin rashes, to more severe reactions like coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath, and even triggering asthma attacks in susceptible individuals. Think about the impact this has, particularly on sleep. How can you get deep, restful sleep if you're constantly congested, waking up sneezing, or struggling to breathe comfortably? Poor sleep due to allergies can then lead to daytime fatigue, irritability, and difficulty concentrating. It becomes a cycle. The allergy disrupts sleep, and the lack of sleep makes you feel worse overall. I remember talking to a lovely lady, Mary, aged 72. She'd had cats all her life, and suddenly started developing a persistent cough and stuffy nose, especially bad in the mornings. She blamed it on seasonal allergies, or just getting older. Her doctor, however, suspected her beloved cat, Mittens, who slept curled up on her chest every night, might be playing a role. Mary was initially resistant. Mittens was her comfort. But she agreed to try an experiment, keeping Mittens out of the bedroom for just 2 weeks while using an air purifier. The difference was remarkable. Her morning symptoms significantly improved. She realized that while she adored Mittens, the constant close proximity during sleep was aggravating her respiratory system. She found a compromise. Mittens got a luxurious new bed just outside her bedroom door, and Mary invested in a good HEPA filter for her room. She could still enjoy Mittens' company all day, but her nights and consequently her days became much more comfortable. So even if you don't think you have pet allergies, if you experience chronic respiratory symptoms, especially upon waking, it might be worth considering if your furry bedmate could be a contributing factor. Remember, our bodies change, and sensitivities can develop over time. Okay, before we move on to the next crucial point, if you're finding this information helpful or thought-provoking, please take a moment to gently tap that like button below. It really helps our channel reach more people who might benefit from this discussion. Thank you so much. Now let's shift gears slightly and talk about something that affects nearly everyone, but can be particularly impactful for seniors: sleep disruption. We all know how vital good sleep is for our physical and mental health. It's when our bodies repair tissues, consolidate memories, regulate hormones, and recharge for the day ahead. As we age, achieving consistent, high-quality sleep can sometimes become more challenging due to various factors. Adding a pet into the bed, however well-intentioned, can unfortunately often exacerbate these challenges. Why? Because pets don't necessarily sleep like humans do. They have their own sleep-wake cycles, and their nocturnal activities can be surprisingly disruptive. Think about it. Your cat might decide 3 a.m. is the perfect time for a vigorous grooming session, complete with loud slurping sounds right next to your ear. Or perhaps they suddenly get the zoomies and decide to pounce on your wiggling toes under the covers. Your dog might snore, sometimes quite loudly. They might shift positions frequently, jostling the mattress. They might get up to drink water, scratch, or decide they need to go outside right when you've finally drifted off into deep sleep. Some dogs dream quite actively, twitching, kicking, or even whimpering or barking softly in their sleep. Each of these small interruptions might not seem like a big deal in isolation. You might think you fall right back asleep. But what's happening is that your sleep is becoming fragmented. Instead of progressing smoothly through the necessary sleep cycles, including the deep restorative stages and REM sleep crucial for cognitive function, you're experiencing micro-awakenings or being pulled into lighter stages of sleep more frequently. The result? You might wake up feeling like you haven't really slept even if you were in bed for 8 hours. This is often described as poor sleep quality, even if the quantity seems sufficient. Over time, this chronic sleep fragmentation can lead to increased daytime fatigue and low energy, difficulty concentrating and memory problems, brain fog, increased irritability or mood swings, a weakened immune system, ironically making you more susceptible to those infections we discussed earlier, slower physical recovery, and potentially increased perception of pain. Imagine you're finally asleep, maybe dreaming peacefully, and suddenly your dog decides to reposition itself, kicking you lightly in the back. Or your cat starts purring like a tiny motor right by your head. Even if you love these sounds and sensations during the day, at night, they can subtly sabotage the quality of your rest. This brings us to a potentially serious consequence of sleep disruption, especially for seniors: the impact on chronic health conditions. Many people over 70 are managing conditions like cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, heart conditions, diabetes, arthritis, respiratory issues, or chronic pain. Quality sleep is not just beneficial for managing these conditions, it's often essential. Here's the concerning part: lack of sufficient restorative sleep can actively worsen many of these chronic illnesses. For example, cardiovascular health. Poor sleep is linked to increased blood pressure, inflammation, and stress hormones, all of which strain the heart. Diabetes. Sleep deprivation can affect blood sugar control and insulin sensitivity, making diabetes management more difficult. Arthritis and chronic pain. Lack of sleep can lower your pain threshold, making existing aches and pains feel more intense. Fatigue also makes it harder to stay active, which is often recommended for managing arthritis. Cognitive function. We know sleep is vital for brain health. Chronic poor sleep can exacerbate memory issues or cognitive decline. Now consider the potential for a vicious cycle. Your pet disrupts your sleep. The poor sleep aggravates your chronic condition, e.g., your blood pressure creeps up, or your arthritis pain flares. The worsening symptoms of your condition then make it even harder to fall asleep or stay asleep. And round it goes. The pet in the bed, initially a source of comfort, inadvertently becomes a contributing factor to a negative health spiral. Let's think about Arthur, who we mentioned briefly earlier. He was in his late 70s and managing hypertension. He loved having his beagle, Barney, sleep at the foot of his bed. But Barney was a restless sleeper. Lots of stretching, sighing, and occasional dream-induced yips. Arthur found himself waking several times a night. He felt constantly tired, and his doctor noted his blood pressure wasn't as well controlled as it used to be, despite medication. It took some gentle persuasion from his daughter and his doctor, but Arthur eventually tried setting up a cozy dog bed for Barney in the corner of the room. It wasn't easy at first. Barney whined a bit, but after a week or two, both settled into the new routine. Arthur reported sleeping much more soundly, and guess what? At his next checkup, his blood pressure readings had improved noticeably. The improved sleep quality was likely a significant factor. This isn't about blaming Barney. It's about recognizing that the dynamics of co-sleeping can have unintended health consequences, especially when layered on top of existing health challenges. Is it possible that some of your daytime fatigue or struggles with managing a chronic condition could be linked, even partially, to nighttime disturbances from a beloved pet? It's a question worth reflecting on gently. So we've talked about the potential risks: infections, parasites, allergies, and significant sleep disruption that can impact overall health and chronic conditions. It might sound a bit daunting. But please, remember the purpose here is not fear, but empowerment through understanding. The veterinary guidelines aren't saying get rid of your pets. They are urging awareness and offering practical solutions for safer coexistence. This brings us to the most important part, the urgent guidelines and the path towards scientific, healthy companionship. What can we actually do? First and foremost, the guidelines strongly emphasize proactive health checks and prevention for your pet. This is foundational. Ensuring your pet is as healthy as possible is the first line of defense. This means regular veterinary visits. Don't skip those annual or semi-annual checkups, especially for older pets. Your vet can screen for underlying issues, keep vaccinations up to date, like rabies, distemper, etc., and recommend appropriate parasite control. Consistent parasite prevention. This is crucial. Use vet-recommended products regularly to control fleas, ticks, heartworms, and intestinal worms. This significantly reduces the risk of zoonotic diseases, those transmissible from animals to humans. Discuss the best options for your specific pet and lifestyle with your vet. Good hygiene practices. This applies to both you and your pet. Wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water after handling your pet, especially before eating or touching your face. Keep your pet's food and water bowls clean. Regularly clean their bedding and living areas. If your pet uses a litter box, keep it scooped daily and wash your hands meticulously afterwards. Groom your pet regularly to minimize loose hair and dander. Think of these steps as responsible pet parenting that directly benefits your own health too. It's an investment in the well-being of your entire household. Now let's address the elephant in the room, or perhaps the furry friend on the bed. Rational planning of sleep spaces. This is often the most emotionally challenging guideline, but potentially the most impactful for addressing the risks we've discussed. The strong recommendation from many veterinarians, particularly for seniors over 70 or those with underlying health conditions, is to create a separate, dedicated sleeping space for your pet. I know. The thought of moving your beloved companion off the bed might feel difficult, even heartbreaking for some. They provide so much comfort there. But let's reframe this. It's not about rejection, it's about creating healthy boundaries for the well-being of both of you. Consider the benefits. Reduced exposure significantly lowers your prolonged exposure to potential allergens, bacteria, and parasites during the vulnerable sleep period. Undisturbed sleep allows you to achieve deeper, more restorative sleep without interruptions from your pet's movements or noises. This directly benefits your physical health, mental clarity, and management of chronic conditions. Safety reduces the risk of accidental trips if you get up at night, or potential falls if a larger pet suddenly jumps off the bed. So, how can you implement this gently and effectively? Create a cozy alternative. Invest in a comfortable, appealing pet bed. Place it in your bedroom, perhaps near your own bed, so your pet still feels close to you. Make it inviting with familiar blankets or toys. Positive reinforcement. Encourage your pet to use their new bed with praise, treats, and affection. Make it a positive place for them. Consistency is key. Gently guide your pet to their bed if they try to jump on yours. Be patient and consistent. It might take time for them to adjust to the new routine. Maintain daytime cuddles. Make sure you're still providing plenty of affection, playtime, and cuddle time during the day. This reassures your pet that the bond is still strong, even if the nighttime sleeping arrangements have changed. Consider location. If having the pet bed right in the bedroom is still too disruptive, e.g. due to snoring, perhaps placing their bed just outside your closed or partially closed bedroom door could be a good compromise. They are still nearby, but the physical barrier can dampen noise and reduce allergen spread. Think of it like this. You are creating a safe haven for your own restorative sleep, while ensuring your pet has their own comfortable and secure spot nearby. It's a win-win in the long run, even if the transition requires some effort. Perhaps start small. Maybe try having your pet sleep in their own bed for just part of the night, gradually increasing the duration, or implement the change on nights when you feel particularly tired or unwell and really need undisturbed rest. Find what works for you and your pet. All right, we've covered a lot of ground today. We started by acknowledging the immense joy and comfort pets bring, especially in our later years. We then gently explored the potential risks highlighted by veterinary guidelines concerning co-sleeping after 70, the hidden threats of bacteria and parasites, the often underestimated impact of allergies, and the significant consequences of sleep disruption, particularly when managing chronic health conditions. But most importantly, we discussed actionable, positive steps you can take. Prioritizing your pet's health through regular vet visits and preventative care is paramount. And considering the creation of a separate, comfortable sleeping space for your pet, while perhaps emotionally challenging initially, can be a powerful way to safeguard your own health and ensure the quality sleep you need to thrive. The core message here is not one of restriction, but of rational companionship. It's about finding that beautiful balance where we can cherish the unconditional love and presence of our pets, while also taking responsible, informed steps to protect our own health and well-being. Our golden years deserve to be filled with vitality, comfort, and joy. Our pets are a huge part of that joy, and by following these gentle guidelines, we can ensure that relationship continues to enrich our lives in the safest and healthiest way possible. I encourage you to reflect on your own situation. Think about your sleep quality, your health, your pet's habits. Is there maybe one small adjustment you could consider making based on what we've discussed today? Perhaps it's scheduling that overdue vet appointment, or maybe just researching comfortable pet beds online. What are your thoughts on this topic? Do you share your bed with your pet? Have you noticed any of the potential issues we discussed, or have you found solutions that work well for you? Please feel free to share your experiences and thoughts respectfully in the comments below. Your insights could be incredibly helpful to others in our community. Remember to be kind and supportive in your interactions. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today, engaging with this important topic. If you found this conversation valuable, please consider giving it a thumbs up, subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and perhaps sharing it with a friend or family member who might also benefit. So until next time, take wonderful care of yourselves, stay healthy, stay informed, and give your beloved pets an extra cuddle, perhaps on the sofa rather than the pillow tonight. Bye for now.